What's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video game review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at Code Princess EX for the Nintendo Switch. Originally, the game was released back on the Nintendo 3DS and on PC and Steam as well, but for this review, we're going to be taking a look at the Switch version. Now, I remember playing this game a couple years ago when it originally came out for the Nintendo 3DS. I heard that it was made from former developers who worked at the company Treasure, to the fact that it was made up of staff that worked on what many consider a cult classic, I think Guardian Heroes, for the Sega Saturn back in the day. So it was sort of an interesting title at the time. There were a couple things I didn't and did not like, though, so it kind of surprised me that the game was being ported over to Nintendo Switch. Not to mention, some of the characters would appear in the fighting game Blade Stranger as well. So now that I got a chance to try the game out for a bit, I honestly have to say, though, is that my opinion on it hasn't changed much on the game, though. I still enjoyed the game, but there is certainly one area that I think holds the game back, to be exact, at least from how I see it. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons, and we'll start first with the pros. And the first one is the gameplay. I'll be honest with you, I am a fan of games like beat 'em ups and hack and slash style type of a game, and this game is no exception. It's a fun hack and slash style of a game. Each character plays a little bit differently here and there. One uses magic, one uses like music and guitars, a couple of them uses swords and so forth, and one uses fists and all, but the gameplay is fun. It's a fun hack and slash style of a game, and if you're into those kind of 2D hack and slash games, you'll enjoy this one as well. The next one I do want to point out is the voiceover, and normally to me, I really am not, I'm the kind of person that doesn't matter if it's a Japanese voiceover or English voiceover. In a way, I mean, some games I think have good voiceovers, and then there are games that have voiceover that is so bad it's good. See the House of the Dead series as an example of that. But in this case, I honestly have to say the Japanese voiceover in this game is better than the English voiceover was in the 3DS version. The English voiceover was just annoying. It was just bad, to be exact. I never really was a fan of that. So I will say, in terms of voiceovers, I'm glad that this is has the Japanese voiceover, though. It is worth pointing out there is English subtitles in the game, so you don't have to worry about any language barriers or anything like that. And last but not least is the visuals. And basically the game does have sort of that anime look to it and all, and that's fine. And I will say the visuals definitely look like they've been cleaned up a bit. It looks better than it did on the Nintendo 3DS, though. I mean, it's not, I'm not saying it's going to blow people away or anything like that, but I will say it looks nice, and I do think it looks better than the 3DS version did. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, the cons. So we'll take a little break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video game review of Code Princess EX for the Nintendo Switch. And now that I gave you the pros, why don't we finish it off with the cons? And there are only really 2 cons I could come up with, but one I think is pretty much the most important one of them all. So we'll start off with the first one, and that is the controls, or especially moving your character around. The way they set it up in terms of controlling your character can be very frustrated for some people. In other words, in terms to jump, though, you have to push either up on the analog stick or up on the D-pad or the D buttons if you're using the Joy-Cons to be exact. And in order to move your character up and down on the field, you have to basically hold down the R button and then push either up or down. And it just leads to certain frustrating moments, though. I mean, it makes the controls feel very awkward, and it makes controlling your character very, very difficult. And that's probably the biggest complaint I have with this game. Trying to move your character around, it's just awkward, just really, really, really awkward. I'm just wondering, why don't they do something where if you push up, your character moves up, you push down, your character moves down. Why do you have to hold down the R button to block and then push up and down to move them around? Not to mention, it feels like the controls feel like maybe a little bit too tight, to be exact. So for me, the biggest con has to be that moving your characters around can be the most frustrated part of the game. And last but not least, the other part is that the game is also repetitive, though. Now, hack and slash or beat 'em ups, this is not uncommon. There are games that tend to get repetitive in a way, but there are some that I feel able to avoid that kind of problem. If you look at games like Fire Emblem Warriors and Hyrule Warriors, for example, they add some stuff to sort of make it not feel as repetitive as they are. I mean, yes, Warriors games are known to be very repetitive, but the way Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors are set up, it adds something that makes it feel like, you know what, you could deal with it, though. This one, it's not that I hate the game or anything like that, it's just that it feels like a chore just to defeat one enemy, and it just drags on and on and on, though. I mean, I understand. I'm not saying they should lower the difficulty. I'm not saying that the difficulty had to be lower, or I'm not saying that they had to make the game so easy that they're holding your hand or anything like that. But it feels it feels like a chore. It feels like it's dragging on and on, just trying to defeat at least one enemy, though. Oh, and the lock-on is not exactly the greatest thing in the world. So, yeah. So in other words, it does get repetitive very, very quickly. Overall, well, I don't exactly hate Code of Princess or anything like that. Like I said, I do enjoy hack and slash type of a game, though, and I do think there is fun that can be made out of this game, especially if you're playing this, with another person or online, though. I'm currently playing it as a single-player game, though. It's just that there are parts that I feel the game is a bit frustrating in terms of moving your character around, especially if you're trying to move them up and down, and the fact that it gets repetitive very quickly. It feels like trying to defeat one enemy feels like a chore, and there are points where it feels like you're trying to say, die already, for crying out loud. So there are certainly some hiccups, though, but I don't exactly hate the game, though. It is fun, and if you're into sort of hack and slash and niche games or something like that, it's worth taking a look at as well, though. It's interesting that this is made by the same people who did, I think, Guardian Heroes, to be exact. And it's also interesting that some of the characters made there are in the fighting game Blade Strangers, to be exact. So overall, it's a fun game. It's just not the best hack and slash game that I've played. I still think the Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors right now currently are, in my opinion, the best hack and slash out there. But I don't hate it. I just think that there are some things that hold it back for me to make it like really good, really great, and all that stuff. I was hoping maybe they make some adjustments to the Switch version. Not what I was hoping for, especially with the one part I talked about, moving your character up and down on the field and all that stuff. So overall, I don't hate it. I still enjoy it, though. But in all honesty, though, I think there are better hack and slash games that I've played, especially on the Nintendo Switch, to be exact. Okay, this concludes this review of Code of Princess for the Nintendo Switch. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Code of Princess EX from the Nintendo Switch? Was it worth a double dip again, was it worth bringing the game from the 3DS over to the Nintendo Switch? Did you enjoy the game? Did you not enjoy the game, though? Do you think the controls aren't an issue, or do you think they are an issue, to be exact? Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree with what I said? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications for any videos I update. A notification of any videos I update. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to. And feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good evening then. Bye!